Good evening all. Welcome to IAS Factor by Learnstroke, and this is the Current Affairs Class 1, the National Live. So, from here onwards, we'll have a continuous weekly current affairs classes live for 2025 prelims examination as well as mains examination. So, that is how we are going to start, and uh, I hope you'll all be eager to watch the sessions. I'll tell you how it works, and let me introduce myself. My name is Arjun Shankar. I've been IAS mentor for the last 14 years across India, and I'm the director of IAS Factor, and I am an author and also a former journalist. So this is what it goes, and I'll tell you, current affairs is one of the most interesting, but also the most dominating subject for the UPSC examination that you should know. Most of the questions from prelims, you can say around 40 to 50% of the prelims is actually focused from that. And when you go for the mains, most of the questions come from this. So, I've taken a few important topics from the news, which were actually in the news. And after discussing each and every topic, I'll give you a mains question also. I'll give you a mains question after that, which you can read it and try to solve it yourself. So if you want to watch the video in a landscape mode, you can just change your settings and rotate your phone and go inside and click the button to watch it full screen also. And don't worry, this session will be recorded in the app itself. You can see 2025 batch, 26 UPSC, 27 UPSC, 28 UPSC. So in all the important categories, after the session is over, we'll create a new section called Current Affairs. This video will be recorded and you can watch the pre-recorded video. You can watch the recording again and again in the app. Okay, so this is how the introduction part goes like this, and I'll start the session now with the first topic, and all the topics are appeared in the news. So let's start with an important topic called what is Unani? Because I'll tell you, you can also take a look at the Central Council of Research in Unani Medicine, or the CCRUM. It is the Ministry of Ayush. A lot of times, question relating to medicine is very important. Every time you get, at least in 1 year, there are at least 50 to 70 news on what is Ayush or the Ministry of Ayush. And you can see every time when you see this news, what is the concept of Unani? Because we say about homeopathy, we discussed about Ayurveda, Siddha, but most often, even I've asked this thing to the same people, even I've asked a doctor, do you know exactly what do you mean by Unani? That means most of them do not know about Unani. So I thought we'll use this session to give you an idea about what Unani is all about and prepare it from the perspective of a prelims question. Let's understand which of the following statement regarding Unani is correct. If you get a question, how will you solve that? So take a quick understanding and let's find out and quickly get on to this. Unani medicine is also known as Unani. It's a traditional medicine that originated in ancient Greece. That is very important. First of all, it originated in ancient Greece, and later on, it was moved on to Persia and then to India. So whenever you know about some medical terms, just like we say Ayurveda is very rooted in India, Unani is actually from Greece and it spread to Persia and then to India. And then you can, it is based on two people. You can see the teachings of Hippocrates. This is Hippocrates, who is the father of medicine, and also Galen. Both of them's teachings are integrated in Unani, and it is actually based on balance of four humors. What is four humor? You can see phlegm, blood, yellow bile, and black bile in the body. So this is the basis of Unani and how it spread. Very important that you know about this. If you don't know, find out. It is based on four things: phlegm, blood, yellow bile. So, what is this concept of Unani? See, apart from, if, imagine that there is a person called X and he's having a disease. He's having a disease. So what happens? He's having a disease called Y. He's having a disease called Z. He's having a disease called A. So this person called X has three diseases. So what happens is, in normal medicine, you take medicines for Y, you take medicines for Z, you take medicines for A. But Unani is a different concept of thing, where it believes that rather than treating the symptoms of each and every diseases, you should find out the root problem of the cause. You have to find the root cause of the disease. Unani has a belief in this system, so have an idea about that. That is what Unani as saying in this concept. And Unani medicine employs various treatment modalities, including just like Ayurveda. You can just take a look at this. It also has herbal remedies, diet recommendation, lifestyle changes, and it focuses on treating the whole person rather than the symptoms of disease. This is the main point that I've told you. All these questions are very important for the prelims perspective. What if they ask you which of the following statements regarding Unani are correct? So it treats the whole person rather than symptoms. And it also takes into account what physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of an individual's health. I don't think the other medicine streams rather focus on that. They look at the spiritual angles and even the mental angle before. And they also look at the constitution, temperament, and lifestyle of the individual who's undergoing the treatment. So all these aspects make Unani a much more interesting manner when you compare with the other medicines. And take a look at this. The other important aspects which you can see here is it actually uses the remedies like natural herbs, minerals, and even animal products. And even when you go for a Unani treatment, your healthy diet and lifestyle is actually being focused in this thing. And what are one of the most important criticisms that people say about this, because it's very important that you even know about the various type of criticisms is also very important. So they say that the distribution of Unani medicines lacks stringent quality, and there is a difference in the composition and potency of formulation, making it ineffective most of the time. This is one of the negatives. I'm not saying that this is not working out, but this is the most important negatives which people tell about Unani is what something that you have to see at this point. And you can see Unani treatment often require a longer duration to show significant effect. Just like we say Ayurveda or just like you say homeopathy, it is not suitable for acute conditions requiring immediate relief. So definitely it takes a lot of time to go for the treatment wise. So that is one important thing that you have to note here. So this is all about Unani because it's very important. Every time when you read about Ayush, you discussed about this thing, but you do not know about Unani in detail. So have some idea. And next is regarding the main question that I'm going to give you. Analyze the potential. Please read the question. You can try answering it yourself also. Analyze the potential of Unani medicine to complement modern healthcare practices, addressing its strength, limitation, and necessary steps to ensure its safe and effective integration. So, analyze the potential of Unani medicine to complement modern healthcare practice. What are the strengths, limitation, necessary steps to make it safe and effective integration? So, try out this question. If you can solve this question, it's really good. So this was the first important topic of Unani, which I wanted to discuss with you. And moving on to the next important topic is mission coking coal. What is this concept of mission coking coal? So this is again in the news. Various committees of interministerial committee are held to project demands of all grades of coal. There is substantial demand of high grade coal in the industry like cement, aluminium, sponge, iron, etc. So what is mission coking coal? By this time, this is also very important for mains as well as prelims. What is coking coal? So let me understand. We have to analyze various aspects of the skills to have a better understanding. First of all, you know why you need coal. Then you need to know what is coking coal, and then you need to understand what is the government mission of coking coal. So first of all, let's understand that that India definitely needs a large extent and amount of coal for the production of various industries. And you can take an example like cement, aluminium, sponge. Many of India's industries are developing very much. So what happens is when the industries are growing, they are requiring a large amount of coal. But when you take into account the industrial production, you need coking coal, which is very, very important in industrial production, especially in the production of steel. We have not given aluminum, especially in the production of steel. The steel production, you have to note that the coking coal is very, very important, and most of the coking coal in India is actually imported. India is actually importing most of the coking coal. So what happens is we are heavily dependent on the import. So when is India going to produce its own coking coal? That is why we have decided that we'll have a mission coking coal to produce the coking coal required for the industries. So in this regard, you need to understand what are some of these features of coking coal. Let's quickly understand all of these features and understand it one by one. So let's understand the story. India's industries are growing. I've told you, and they need. Let me tell you the story, because knowing the story is also very important for the analysis. Because I'll explain this concept in detail. Know the story. India's industries, which industries are growing? Yes, they need more coal. The government is trying to increase the coal production. They're also focused on producing a more coking coal within the country to reduce imports. This is what I told you. You need to cut down the import. This involves increasing domestic coking coal production and setting up new facilities. Plus, we need more facilities to create this coking coal. So, let's understand why you need this coking coal. What do you mean by all this? So you can take a close look at this. India's industries like cement, aluminium, and steel production are growing rapidly. This is the same point that I've told you. You have to remember this. What are industries? Cement, aluminium, steel requires coal on a large scale basis. So please understand this can also be a prelims question. And particularly, you need a high grade coking coal, not the normal coking coal. You need a high grade coking coal, which is very helpful for making the steel. And India needs to produce its coal production significantly. So what are we going to do is we have to create a higher demand of coking coal, and this is what we have to do. So understand this scenario very clearly. And now from that point onwards, we'll move on to the next important point. So that is the reason why India has come up with the concept of coking coal. I'll tell you why coking coal is important. To boost the coal production, India has created to reduce the dependence on import. It means reduce, cut down the imports, reduce the import. The government has launched Mission Coking Coal. It is the use of domestically produced coking coal in steel making. You need to increase. You need to increase the coking coal. That is why it is being created. And in order to understand that, let's have an idea about what coking coal is all about. So let's get in detail. What is a coking coal? Let's understand. It is a metallurgical coal, point number one. It's a specific type of coal that is very essential for steel production. So this coking coal is used in furnace production, etc. is very important for steel production. And number one that you will remember this concept is it is very rich in carbon, very very rich in carbon. That is very very important point. See, these type of questions can be very helpful in UPSC prelims also, because they ask you such question. I mean, what are the concepts like this? So it is very rich in carbon. You have to understand this. And coking coal has lower levels of ash and moisture. Such type of things are also asked in the examination. It is very rich in carbon. It has lower levels of ash and moisture compared to the other type of coals, making it more suitable. So definitely, as I told you, it has high carbon content and lower level of ash and moisture compared to the other coal. And it has the ability to soften and fuse together. It has the ability to soften and fuse together when heated in the absence of air. So please remember the most important, it is a metallurgical coal, very important. It is very useful for the development of production, and it is very high in carbon, low in ash, and low in moisture. It can soften and fuse together in the absence of air, what is creating called as coke. So this is the most important. These principles will be useful for your prelims examination also. So please understand, remember all this concept. And why is this coking coal used in steel production? Knowing this is also very important. You can remember three important points. Number one, coke production. There is a process in steel making called as carbonization, because coking coal is heated. It is heated at very high temperature in the absence of air. So what has remained is coke. And in the blast furnace, coking coal, the coke is used both as a fuel and a reducing agent in the blast furnace. So please remember, you can understand this is actually heated. It is used in the coke production. It is also used in the blast furnace. And coke also provides structural support and with allowing hot gases to flow through and ensuring efficient smelting. In order to get the perfect steel making, that is why it is also used in furnace, it is also used in the coke production, and it is creating efficient smelting. So this is how the steel production and coking coal is very, very important. Know this thing because this can be a prelims question also. What are the important features of this? It can be a good prelims question. So please have an idea about this, about the coking coal. So, what is mission coking coal? We discussed about why coal is important, and now let's see why mission coal is important. You can see that in the launch in the 22 financial year by the Ministry of Coal, definitely Ministry of Coal, it is a strategic initiative reducing India's dependence on imported coking coal. That means you have to create it domestically. Domestically, we have to create the coking coal as the most important thing, and it is also in aligned with the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and the mission aims to increase the coal production to 140 million tons by 2030. See, all the statistics is, you cannot remember all the statistics, but I strongly believe that if you can have an idea about the statistics also, it's good. So this is why the mission coking coal is actually brought in India. So have an idea. So again, read some of the important. What are some of the important aspects of the mission coking coal you need to understand? There is going to be blending of domestic coking coal with imported. So imagine that this is domestic, this is the domestic one, and this is the imported coking coal. There is going to be a blending of this. You'll blend it like you blend ethanol and petrol now, 90-10. So it will be blended. So domestic coal and imported coal will be blended. It is going to be 30 to 35% blending by 2030. So eventually you can cut down the importers what they are actually saying here. And now you can see the important point is uh, the quality. This is very, very important point. Please remember this point. The quality of Indian coking coal is generally inferior compared to the international coal. This is also an important area that can be asked in the prelims examination as an option. The quality of Indian coal, especially coking coal, is very low when you compare it with the international coal, is something that you have to understand. And it's, creating, when you create domestically according to the mission coking coal, when you domestically create coking coal, the biggest problem is it will have a lot of environmental impact, because a lot of coal mining and washing can create a lot of environmental damage. So that is also a big concern that we have to remember. So please remember all these points. So please, before you go, please understand we discussed the important concept of why mission coal is important and what is the story, why there is a need for this coal, and why is different industries need coal, and why is this plan created, what are the important features of this coking coal, and why, how it is used in steel making industry, and why the government has created this, and what are the environmental impact of this coal. All this are very, very important for this understand. So I'm giving you another mains important question here. Examine the significance of mission coking coal in ensuring India's steel sector self-reliance. Discuss the key challenges in achieving its objectives and suggest measures to enhance its effectiveness. So please read this question. What is the significance of mission coking coal in ensuring India's steel sector self-reliance? So what are the key challenges also? So please, after reading this, you can definitely, this is from the news, so definitely this is an important question for the main topic. Okay, so that was regarding the coking coal, and next is the most important topic appeared in the last month's current affairs as BIMSTEC. What is this BIMSTEC FTA? So, what do you basically mean by the concept of FTA, or what is free trade agreement is another important thing that you have to understand here. What is this BIMSTEC free trade agreement? You need to have a great idea on this. So let's understand before this, why is this new? Because recently the Union Minister of Commerce Industry, Sri Piyush Goyal, was delivering a lecture and he said we should have a BIMSTEC FTA, free trade agreement between BIMSTEC countries. So you need to know what is this BIMSTEC countries. First of all, you need to understand BIMSTEC means Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, and you can see the 7 major countries involved in this. You can see Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Thailand, and Myanmar. So the most important and key question that you have to ask is Pakistan a member of BIMSTEC? No, Pakistan is not a member of BIMSTEC because such questions can be asked in the examination. When you get a question like this, which of the following countries are part of BIMSTEC? It is very important that they might ask you whether Pakistan is a part of that. No, Pakistan is not a part of that. So BIMSTEC is a important area. I think a lot of questions have been asked previously also. So let's understand something about the story. The BIMSTEC countries want to make it easier, and you can take a look at the map also, which are the countries, because having a strong map knowledge is very important in UPSC because you need to know how the map looks like. So you take a look at India and which are the countries. From this side, you have Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. So look at this area. Pakistan is not included in this. So, what is the story? Everybody, BIMSTEC countries are wanting to have a free trade agreement, but it is not coming in. Work on making trade easier, like reducing paperwork, delays at borders. So, we are wanting to create a free trade agreement, but it is not it is not working it properly. That is one important thing that you have to note here. And let's go to the important point. So, why is BIMSTEC existing? That is one important question. Why is BIMSTEC existing? There are different countries. So, you can take a look at the word itself. The Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sector Technical Economic Cooperation. So, a lot of these countries should be connected together for what? For economic development, point number one, to mutually assist members. You have to have a good relation between all the countries and have an assistance, and to maintain close cooperation with regional organizations to eradicate poverty from the Bay of Bengal region. You can see that all these countries are in this Bay of Bengal region. So in this Bay of Bengal region, that is a very important thing. BIMSTEC, one of the most important area, is also eradicating poverty. No poverty between the countries. Establish multidimensional connectivity. So having better connectivity. As of now, the connectivity is very poor between all this country. Do you think there is a good connectivity between India, Bangladesh, India, Thailand, India, Myanmar, India, Sri Lanka, India, Bhutan, India, Bangladesh, India, Nepal? Are we having a good connectivity? So communication network. So that is also something that we have to check here. Okay. So moving on to the next important thing. So we have already discussed which are the countries. We already discussed this point. So let's have some idea because such questions are also asked in the UPSC prelims. What are important aspects? Let's have an idea on this also. It was formed in 1997. So have an idea. BIMSTEC was formed in 1997 through the Bangkok Declaration. Such questions, statements appear in the UPSC prelims through the Bangkok Declaration with only 4 members: Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. So initially it was called BISTEC, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand Economic Cooperation. And later on, Myanmar joined to it, and later it was BIMSTEC, and later Nepal and Bhutan became full members, leading to the current BIMSTEC. So we have the secretariat. Please understand the secretariat of BIMSTEC is actually in Dhaka, and why BIMSTEC were created. So started in 97, secretariat in Dhaka. It was created out of Bangkok Declaration. So knowing this, and the last countries to get fully joined is Nepal and Bhutan. When such questions, topics are in the news, it's important that you find out. It will be useful for your examination also. So know about this BIMSTEC part. And why is BIMSTEC existing? That is one important thing that you have to understand. It is a bridge between South and Southeast Asia. Very, very important. India stands here. It is a bridge between South and Southeast Asia. So, all these things we already discussed. We have to create there are 14 priority sectors, and not, you don't have to by heart all the priority sectors, but you should definitely understand what are the important. Just I'm going to read this: trade. We need to have better trade, investment, technology, energy, transport, communication, tourism, agriculture, fisheries, disaster management, public health, people to people, poverty alleviation, counterterrorism, climate change. All these are the priority areas between the countries. But the ultimate question is, do you think is BIMSTEC working properly? That is also something that you have to understand. ASEAN is already there. So if there is ASEAN, why do you need BIMSTEC? That is a question. So please understand that. And why do countries need free trade agreement? So please understand the concept of free trade or FTA. What is free trade? It is an agreement between two or more countries to make trade easier and cheaper between them. Imagine that there is a country called A, there is a country called B, and there is another country called C. A is trading with B, B is trading with C, C is trading with D. So there is two or more countries involved in this. That means you make the trade free trade means you remove the taxes. The most important thing is you remove the taxes called tariffs. So if A is selling apples to B is selling oranges to C is selling mobile phones to D. Between two countries, they'll remove the tax or tariff. They'll remove the tax or tariff means the goods will get more chances for sale, and it will also reduce or eliminate other barriers to trade, which is called the non barriers such as quotas. Like you can say limit of price, you can only export or trade at least say 100 million tons of apples. No, there is no particular quotas. You can create more number of export, and it will be an elimination of limits, quotas, technical regulations, custom procedures. So all the tax, everything will be favorable. And when the free trade comes, more free trade or more trade will happen, more connectivity will be happening. This will be a good thing for the people. So that is one thing that you have to note here. One very important thing that we have to note here. So before we go on to the question, let us quickly understand once again BIMSTEC. Remember, the country is very important for the prelims: Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Thailand, Myanmar. Bringing connection, network, everything is going to be in this. So I have an idea on this. And why it was created in 1997, Bangkok Declaration. Why Secretary it is in Dhaka. And what are the 14 priority sectors of BIMSTEC? When ASEAN is there, why do you still need BIMSTEC is another important thing. And again, what is FTA? Why do you need free trade agreement? So let's take the question for the mains examination here. I'm giving you a question from the mains, so maybe you can write it down or maybe you can solve it again. BIMSTEC, despite its potential to foster regional cooperation and economic development of the Bay of Bengal region, has faced challenges in realizing its full potential. Critically examine the impediments to BIMSTEC's progress and suggest measures to revitalize the regional grouping. So, this question has many parts. It's very clearly talking about what are some of the challenges of BIMSTEC in realizing the full potential. Is BIMSTEC isn't is the BIMSTEC in full potential? No. What are some of the progress and measures to make it more effective? So this is the question on BIMSTEC which you should definitely think about. So that was the important area about BIMSTEC. And quickly moving on to the next question is, see, if you might be thinking, have you seen all these topics in the newspaper or in the other? All these are very trending topics, exactly like how they ask in UPSC. Because many times, what happens is when you get a question in the prelims examination, you really wonder where they ask this question. So, have you heard about this thing called NUCFDC? The NUCFIDIS, or the National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Corporation. Have you heard about this thing? So this, if you, in order to understand this, you need to understand what is this concept of banking or urban cooperative bank, the urban cooperative bank or the UCB, because there are different type of banks, and you must have definitely heard about urban cooperative bank, which operates in the urban and also in the semi-urban areas. Like you must have heard about the rural banks, the rural cooperative banks, the cooperative banks. So what is this urban cooperative bank, and who owns the urban cooperative bank? So why this is created. These are very important topics from economics. If you don't know, it's better that you find it out. So that Definitely, there is something called as urban cooperative banks. This urban cooperative bank is actually helping who? It is helping the small scale industrialists, small scale entrepreneurs, or small scale business people in the urban areas. So it is already giving loans. UCB is already giving loans. Before UCB, what they have created is they have created another body called NUCFDC. Very, very important. Please remember, they have created NUCFDC to support the unit, to support the urban cooperative banks. So please understand, NUCFDC means National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Corporation. You can get this question for UPSC prelims. Which of the following statements are correct regarding NUCFDC? So please stay focused on that. So let's understand some of the important concept for that. Before that, let me tell you basically what are urban cooperative banks. Why do you need urban cooperative banks is another important thing that we have to find out. So they are financial institutions that operate in urban and semi-urban area. See, take and understand. You when you go out in your city, definitely you must have come across this concept called what is an urban cooperative bank? Definitely a cooperative bank. And this is actually cooperative societies registered under the Cooperative Societies Act. Very, very important point. This is a point that can be asked in the prelims. Cooperative societies are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act and as a community-based bank. So it is owned and operated by members who are also the customers of the bank. We all form the bank. We are all members of the bank, and it's run and operated by us. But it take care of in urban areas, small business, individuals, and community in urban and semi-urban area are the beneficiaries of this bank. Very, very important point. This is regulated by RBI. Very, very important. The Urban Cooperative Bank is regulated by RBI under Banking Regulation Act 1949 and the respective state governments under the Cooperative Societies Act. So please remember all this point. This can also be asked in the UPSC prelims as a point. So basically understand why you urban cooperative bank, you understood why it's a financial institution in the urban and semi-urban. Point number one, it is registered under Cooperative Societies Act. Point number two, it is also registered under RBI under Banking Regulation Act 1949. So who is it supporting? Small business individuals in the urban and semi-urban areas. From now onwards, there will be another organization which is going to support the UCB. That is what we are discussing here. That is something we are discussing here. From now onwards, you see the NUCFDC will support the urban cooperative banks. Let's see. You can see Urban Cooperative Finance is a newly established entity in India with a critical mission to what is the mission of NUCFDC? You can take a look at this. Already to strengthen, very important, to strengthen and modernize the UCBs. So what is it doing? The NUCFDC will provide loans, very, very important, and other financial services to UCB. So have this understanding. UCB already has some functions. It is already giving support to the people. And what will the NUCFDC do? It will actually come appoint before UCB. The NUCFDC, you can see the NUCFDC will give loans to the UCB. Very, very important. It will give the loans, it will give the technical support, it will give the financial support to UCBs so that they can function effectively. So it is a supporting system of the urban cooperative bank. So have an idea about this thing. And what is the help that NUCFDC is going to take a look at this picture? You must have this is a small branch of Nainital, Almora. You can see Almora Urban Cooperative Bank. You must have seen a lot of cooperative banks in your locality also. So the NUCFDC will create the technological platform that all UCB can use. So they will create the tech platform. From now onwards, better technology platform, and they will definitely offer loans to the UCB. Definitely, they will give you loans to the cooperative banks, and the NUCFDC will also offer training and consulting services to the UCBs to improve operations. And so definitely you can see it is a helping hand for urban cooperative banks in India. It will provide financial support, technology upgrade, and guidance. This is what the NUC FDC is giving to the cooperative banks, and please have an understanding very quickly. So, okay, now before I go, it's very important that you analyze some of the important aspects of banking system. You can actually, it is not important. I know that the image is a bit blurred, but definitely you would understand that this is the structure of cooperative credit institution. Imagine that there is cooperative credit institution. One end you have the urban cooperative bank, which we are discussing on UCB, and another is the rural cooperative credit institution in the urban and the rural. In the urban itself, there are two types. One is the scheduled UCB and non-scheduled UCB. Then there is multi-state. That means you can operate in 2 or 3 states and single state. And for the non-scheduled also, you have multi-state and single state. So what is this? I'll tell you the difference between all of this. Know this idea clearly. Urban cooperative bank is divided into scheduled and non-scheduled. So what do you mean by this concept of scheduled and non-scheduled? If you have read economics, you'll understand. Schedule means always think it's bigger and more established. Please get this. Schedule means it's much bigger and more established because they have met certain requirements of the RBI. They get certain privileges and facilities of the RBI. Always understand, when you hear the word scheduled banking terms, you should understand that it's much more bigger and it is much more established. Non-scheduled means that typically smaller urban cooperative banks that haven't yet met the criteria of RBI, but still they are operating under various acts. They have. It is not only RBI. They have some restrictions. So definitely that is the difference. Number one, scheduled is RBI and it's much more bigger. UCB, they haven't met the criteria, so many criterias of keeping minimum reserves, complying with various rules. We have a small drops in that. So that is why, understand cooperative banks divided into scheduled and non-scheduled. Multi-state means you can operate in different states and single state. So this is, in short, an idea about the urban cooperative banks. I wanted to give a concept of urban cooperative banks. And now let's understand about the important topics in a quick jiffy. What is NUC FDC? Before that, I've told you what is an urban cooperative bank. Very important. Who are they serving? What are important points? And what is NUC FDC doing about this? How will they help in? They'll help in technology. They'll help in operations. They'll help in management. They'll help in guidance, etc. And a small structure about the scheduled urban cooperative bank and scheduled non-scheduled urban cooperative bank. So have an idea. Take a question. Discuss the key challenges faced by urban cooperative banks in India and critically evaluate the role of National Urban Corporation Finance, the NUC FDC, in addressing this challenge. So what are the key challenges faced by UCB in India and how is NUC FDC addressing this challenge? So this is, see, all these questions, whatever questions that I'm trying to tell you has got a larger impact in all of this. Okay. When I tell you this is from the news, so do not ignore this. When I ask you such questions, make sure that UPSC can also ask this question, because whatever I'm discussing it from the current affairs. So have an idea on that. Okay, so I hope you'll have an idea on that. And next is important thing, avian influenza. Many times this news is spread and recently United States of America is now reeling with avian influenza. California, one of the biggest states in US, is spreading avian flu. What is this avian flu? The Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, the DARD. What is the Department of has formulated a National Action Plan for Prevention and Control and Containment of Avian Influenza 2021. So this is something India should also be concerned about avian influenza. So as you can see, there are animals involved in this. Why do you think avian influenza has a larger impact on this? Let's quickly understand this topic in detail. Let's take a look at this. Avian influenza or bird flu. You know why? I've already showed you the image of a cow. So avian influenza is bird flu. Then how do you think that cows are also affected? Please understand. Avian influenza is simple bird flu. It's contagious and a viral disease. Very important. It is a viral disease that primarily affects both birds, domestic and wild birds affected. So please understand, it's a bird flu. It's a viral disease. It's caused by an influenza virus. Very important, which are classified into various subtypes on two surface proteins. Please remember there is two proteins, the surface proteins H and N. It is the hemagglutinin and the neuraminidase. The H and the hemagglutinin and the neuraminidase are very important. H and N proteins. It is actually based on influenza virus. So all these questions can also be asked for prelims. Which are the following? And please understand, in avian influenza there is something called LPAI and HPAI. Low pathogen avian influenza. Please get this idea correct. One is LPAI. When you talk about avian influenza, it's very important that you talk about LPAI and HPAI. One is low pathogenic avian influenza. One is low, and the HP is high. So the low one causes mild or no symptoms in birds. It often gets unnoticed. It however mutate. It mutates into HPA. Most of the time, the low one gets unnoticed, and later on, it mutates to create a high. It causes illness and high mortality rate in birds. It can have significant economic consequences to the poultry industry and also human health. So please understand the LPAI and HPAI. So this is something that I wanted to know. And the next is important point. How is it spreading? The avian influenza, how do you think it is spreading to different parts? Let's understand. One is bird to bird. You can see that it will spread from bird to bird. Like primarily, it spreads from direct contact. Very important. The words that I'm marking is important for prelims also. It can spread from bird to bird, direct contact with infected birds or contaminated surface such as feces, saliva, or nasal secretion. You can see in this picture from the nasal drops from the bird itself, it can be transmitted through saliva, fecal, and also direct contact or contaminated surfaces. And please remember, it can be passed on from bird to humans. From bird to humans also. Humans can contact avian influenza through close contact with infected birds or contaminated environment. Very, very important. It need not be birds alone. Such questions can be asked in the examination also. In the prelims exam, they'll ask you this interesting question. It will be only spread from the birds only. No, it can also, a contaminated environment can also transmit bird to human relation. So human to human transmission is rare. Human to human transmission is rare, but it is not ruled out. It is not ruled out. It is limited. So you can say that these are some of the symptoms like ruffled feathers, decreased egg production, and mild respiratory symptoms of the bird. So bird to human to human is rare, but it is not ruled out. Please understand this in clarity. Okay. And what are some of the important prevention measures that you can bring in, especially for this, as you can understand? Strict biosecurity measures need to be brought in. All these points are important points that you should be writing for the main answers. Definitely, when you write main answers is important. Such points will give you marks. Strict biosecurity measures, and vaccination of the poultry in some regions to reduce. So you can even include the vaccination and monitoring wild bird population and domestic poultry for avian influenza. So all these are measures. You can monitor, you can vaccinate, you can create strict biosecurity measures. See, when you write all these points for avian influenza, you will get really good marks. And you can see it has evenly hit California recently. Just 1 or 2 days back, it has hit California, one of the number one milk producing states of America. Please remember, it is also a problem in India too, but it is also contracted in US. And now let me understand and give you some idea about the animals that you think will be contacted. Do not think that it is only birds. So you can see chickens, normally hens, chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, and other domesticated birds are highly susceptible to avian influenza. So especially in the HP layer category, chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, and even wild birds means you can see waterfowl, ducks, geese are natural reservoirs for avian influenza. They can carry the virus without showing symptoms and spread it to other birds. And also, you can imagine cats, dogs, ferrets can also become infected, usually after eating infected birds. So, cats, dogs, ferrets, seals, foxes, bears, skunks, and other wild mammals. You can see other wild mammals have also been found to be infected with avian influenza because they are scavenging on the infected birds. And also, mink is also very, very important. So know this, why I gave you this, because to have an idea, you should have a good idea that it is not only birds, other mammals can also get affected when they eat or scavenge the infected birds. That is very important. So before we go on to this question, have a strong idea about the avian influenza. The milk producing, it's actually affecting the mammals. It is actually LPA. It is actually created by virus, influenza virus, the hemagglutinin and neuraminidase, and LPAI, the HPAI, and bird to human to human, not ruled out. And what are some of the prevention measures that you should be brought in? And what are some of the animals, birds, etc., which can get this? So this is about avian influenza from current affairs. Take this question also. Avian influenza outbreaks pose a significant threat to India's poultry industry and public health. Analyze the challenges in controlling avian influenza in India and suggest comprehensive measures to mitigate its impact. See, I'll tell you one thing. Every time we discuss a main question, do not take it lightly. What happens is we just believe that, okay, we'll read this question, we can write this question anytime. It's very important because most of the aspirants who are writing, just to tell you that when you even clear the prelims, you know that 13,000 people to 15,000 people write the UPSC mains exam. Take it from me, only less than 6,000 people know to write a good answer. The rest of the 10,000 or 9,000 people have only cleared prelims. They do not know to write a good answer because they do not write a good point, or they do not write it the UPSC way. So all I wanted to tell you is that only six out of the 6,000 people, 3,000 people will qualify and they will go for the interview. So please understand, not take it lightly. When you get a question, try to answer, try to understand and try to find out the answers. That will be very, very helpful for your preparation. Okay, so that was all about the avian influenza and the important aspect of that. And now let's move on to another important question. The GS paper 3 perspective. What is ND? What is the concept of DMF, or the District Mineral Foundation? What is it doing? And from a mains perspective, you should also know what is National District Mineral Foundation. So have an idea in this concept, because I'll tell you one thing. You can take a look at this. You know that many regions, imagine that this is a region that is very popular for mining. And that when there is mining activity taking in, you must have seen in at least movies that when you mine a region, there are a lot of problems. The people around this region are affected very badly. Because definitely, so can we stop mining? You can stop mining because you need minerals and resources. So so just because it is affecting people, you cannot stop mining because you need resources. So at the same time, you have to protect the people, and you have to make sure that you mine judiciously, not drastically and deplete the resources. Mine it judiciously. So in order to do this, you should also understand there is something else called as Pradhan Mantri Khanij Kshetra Kalyan Yojana, the PMKKY. The PMKKY, or it's also so mining. You can take a look at this picture, how people have created a circle. So District Mineral Foundation is actually it's actually a foundation or an organization or a group of entity to get benefits. The people who are involved in mining, all of them should actually get some benefits because mining is happening in this region. So that is the concept of National District Mineral Foundation. We'll actually understand it in much more depth. I'll actually give you it in much more depth. So this is the concept. And let's understand points one by one. Let's take the most important points. So first of all, it is a trust. The DMF is a trust. It is a non-profit entity in districts affected by mining operations. You can take a look at the pictures also. So if mining places has a lot. You must have heard about a lot of controversial mining projects in India also. Mining thing is very, very important because it's important for the economy, but also at the same time it is leaving a lot of problems with people that you see in the picture. So imagine the life of the people. So it is a trust, non-profit entity. It is created in areas which is affected by mining population. Okay. What is the primary purpose? Is to work for welfare of the people impacted by mining related. So it is working for the welfare activity. Remember, and the establishment of DFM was mandated by the Mine and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Act 2015. Very, very important point. Write it. They can ask this question: which of the following statements regarding District Mineral Foundation are true? Number one, it is a trust, it is a non-profit entity, and the third statement is it is established under Mines and Minerals Development. So three statements, all the statements are correct. Because how do you know that? It is deriving its legal status from Section 9B of the Act. Mines and Mineral Development Amendment Act, please remember, it is getting the leverage from this act. Okay, the central government sets the rules for very, very important point. Please understand, for the DMF, central government is setting the rules. Very important. While the state governments are responsible for the implementation and management. For very, very important point that you have to draw here is central government sets the rules. Such questions, such points can be very confusing in the UPSC prelims. Central government is the rule making body, and when you come down, the state government is the implementing agency. So please understand, this is the concept of District Mineral Foundation. And let's move on to the other important points. So how is the funding comes? You can take a look at this funding thing. It is primarily funded through contributors from the miners. If we are miner, if she's a miner, she can also fund it herself. A portion can be funded by her. The mining leaseholders, the people who are leaseholders, are required to pay a portion of the royalty, not exceeding 100 of the DMF. So they also need to pay a royalty. People, the stakeholders or the leaseholders of the region, they need to pay a royalty which is not 1/3, not exceeding 1/3 of DMF. So miners need to pay. Royalty should be paid by the leaseholders. Specific contribution rates are who decides this? How much should be paid? How much should the miners be paid? How much should be the royalty? Very important. Central government is deciding this, not the state government. What is the rate? The rate is determined by the central government. Please understand that is something here. So, implementing the Pradhan Mantri Khanij Kshetra Kalyan Yojana is a flagship scheme for mining affected people of the area. So, please understand, you can even read more about this. Please do write it. I'm giving this as a task for you. Please write down and find out what is PMKKY or PMKKY. Why is it there? You should find it out. Small, I'm just giving it to you as a small task for this. Okay, fair enough. So let's what is the structure of this DMF is also very important. Who is, how is it governed? Central government sets the rate, central government is deciding the structure, state government is fulfilling it. So the District Mineral Foundation is governed by a governing council, very important. It's governed by a governing council chaired by the district collector or deputy commissioner. Very, very important point. Central government is setting out the rules, state government is implementing and operating it. What is the structure? It is a governing council chaired by the district collector and the deputy commissioner, and it also includes representatives from various stakeholders such as elected representatives, mining companies are also part, civil society organization, everybody is a part of this. Civil society organization, mining company representatives are all part of this. And state government prescribes the composition and functions of the DM zone. Very important. The governing council, who decides the governing council? It's the state government. Who decides the rate? How much rate and royalty should be given the money? That is central government. But the structure and the composition and all the part is done by the state government. So it plays a vital role in channeling the funds of the development of mining affected. So this is already something that we have discussed. So know about, there is a scope for a lot of prelims questions here. A lot of questions can be asked from this. So before we go to the question, please understand what is district. So what is DMF? DMF is District Mineral Foundation, created wherever there is mining operation, and created central government and state government is working. It is created under you can see Mines and Mineral Development Amendment Act 2015, Section 9B is the legal status gaining, and you can see miners can fund it, leaseholders can pay royalty not exceeding one third. The rates are decided by central government, and also find out PMKKY and who the district collector or deputy commissioner and mining companies, representative, elected people from civil society organization. All this are the district mineral foundation. Now take a question. Assess the effectiveness of district mineral foundation in addressing the socio-economic and environmental impacts of mining in India. Suggest measures to enhance its performance. It's also very, very important. Get this question correct. Once you read about the district mineral foundation, can you answer this question? Just take 2 seconds. Assess the effectiveness of district mineral foundation in addressing the socio-economic and environmental impacts of mining in India. Suggest measures to enhance its performance. So I think you can write a lot of points from the question that we have discussed. If you're not able to write this answer, please try to get an idea about all this at DMF. So that's it. And moving on to the next important area is we are talking about mining. So I thought I'll come up with another important concept of tantalum deposits. Definitely, you must have read your periodic table, so you must have noticed the atomic weight, so atomic number, so 73. What is tantalum? You can see tantalum or tantalum. The central government has notified a list of 24 minerals, including tantalum, in Part D of the Mines and Minerals Act 1957 as a critical and strategic mineral. So in this, I'm going to tell you about what is tantalum. How do you work on this is very important. What is this tantalum deposits and why this is important? And this concept is also very important. What is critical and strategic minerals? Very, very important. Which minerals are called as critical and strategic minerals? It's very important. Which are the area and why is tantalum used in India? So know about let's have an idea about this. Let's know in detail about why this is actually created. Okay, so what is tantalum? Let's understand the most important features out of this. Tantalum is a rare and valuable metal. You can take a look at this. Tantalum is a rare and valuable metal, crucial for electronics and high-tech industries. So very, very important. It is very, very used in the electronic industry. And there was a groundbreaking discovery. IIT rover found tantalum in the sands of Satluj River in Punjab. Tantalum is very important. Recently, lithium was very popular. Likewise, next time you can ask a question on tantalum. So it was actually created in Satluj. They found this in Punjab. That is the first documented instance of tantalum being found in sands in India. So even in 2024-25 budget, the customs duty on tantalum ores and concentrate on it is eliminated. The customs duty on tantalum is actually eliminated in the budget, which shows tantalum is an important strategic metal for the electronic industry, and that is why India is trying very, very seriously in this tantalum. So know about this, and let's take a look at this. I'm telling you the statistics. You don't have to read this completely, but I'm trying to give you an idea. So we have already learned about tantalum. So understand, Gujarat has got tantalum. Definitely, it has got tin, tungsten, and tantalum. Arunachal Pradesh has got tantalum. It has also got cesium and tantalum. Rajasthan has got tantalum. It has got other metals also. Chhattisgarh has got tantalum. Bihar has got, and Karnataka has also got this. So always understand. Take a look at the states also, because they can. This is a prelims question. They can ask from which of the states can you find this element called tantalum. You should know. When you northeast, you can select its go like this. From South India, Karnataka has a good number of that. When you slowly move up, you can see on the western side, you can see Gujarat and Rajasthan. And on the eastern side, when you slowly go Towards the east, you can see Chhattisgarh, and then Bihar is a part. Then extreme Arunachal Pradesh, all of that has got tantalum. This is a government report that I'm sharing with you. So all the states have got found traces. This valuable metal for electronics. That is why high-tech industries people are using this. And also, moving on to the another important topic that I wanted to tell you is that what are critical and strategic minerals? Because government is tantalum is actually a critical and strategic mineral. So in this regard, it's also very important that you should know what is a critical and strategic mineral. Critical and strategic minerals are minerals that are considered essential for well-being and security of a nation. When they are very strategic and critical for the security of a nation and well-being, and that is indispensable for various high-tech industries, defense application, emerging technology. So please understand, emerging technology, high-tech industries, defense technology, all of this is actually having the use of this thing. And it is also used for electronics, renewable energy, aerospace, defense. That is what is used for security of a country and economic well-being. That is why they are called as critical and strategic minerals. So it's important that you have an idea about which are the critical and strategic minerals. Let's take a close look. You don't have to, study everything. I'm just this is just an educational, informative purpose. I'm trying to tell you that which of them are critical minerals. Some of the critical minerals of India. That means you can take a identify. These are the critical minerals: lithium, cobalt, nickel, barium, niobium, germanium, rhenium, beryllium, tantalum. This is tantalum. That is why tantalum is important. Strontium, zirconium, graphite, manganese, chromium, and silicon. I think you know many of this. You know about lithium, cobalt, nickel. You already know. So I think you know about graphite, manganese, chromium, and silicon. And something that you should be remembering is definitely vanadium, niobium, germanium, rhenium, beryllium, tantalum, strontium, zirconium are also strategic and critical minerals. So know this idea. Just to give you an idea, I gave this table so that you get an idea. These things are critical minerals and strategic minerals. That's it. And some of the uses also. Let me have an idea. What is RE? Very very important. Rare earth elements, very very important. This is something called as RE or RWE. It's rare earth metals. They are the rare earth elements. It's very very important. They are used in magnets, batteries, lasers, and high tech application. Like lithium is used for ion batteries, EV vehicles, etc. Cobalt is used for batteries and high performance alloy. Graphite is used in batteries, and tantalum is used in capacitors and electronics and medical implants. And niobium is used as a steel alloy and aerospace and infrastructure. So these are some of the critical and strategic minerals. So know about this, especially rare elements. They are also very, very important. So take a question. The recent discovery of tantalum deposits in India holds significant promise for the country's economic and strategic interests. Critically examine the potential benefits and challenges associated with this. Read this question. They have asked this question about various rare earth metals, minerals, or they've asked about lithium. Now, this time, focus on tantalum and why they are having a potential. Please find out this question also. I think we have discussed in detail about tantalum. What are the important, even the budget talks about this, which are some of the states which is producing this. Why is this important? What are critical and strategic mineral? What are the important uses of that? And you can write this question clearly. So that is something that I wanted to tell you. Please read about this topics also. Next is a topic called CP grams. And I'm sure many of the people who are watching this live, you must be believing that many of the news that you read in Hindu, you believe that these are the only important topics for your current affairs for the next year. No, there are many other government reports and government news which is actually creating. What is the concept of CP gram? Please understand, take a look at this concept of CP gram. What is the CP grams? Jitendra Singh stated that 2022, the 10-step CP grams reform process was adopted by the government for quality. So imagine that. I'll give you an example. Imagine that this is an organization called X. This is an organization, and you have a complaint. You have a redress grievance. You have a complaint against this organization called X. What will you do? You'll write a complaint, right? You'll write a complaint. You'll go to the office. So this is one of the important CP grams. I'll tell you the expansion also. This is one of the important things as a governance measure for polity and governance, especially in the main answer. You can mark it as a governance mechanism. The CP grams. When you write such thing, you get more marks in the mains examination also. So CP grams. When organization called X, you have a complaint against this. You can use CP gram and you can log in. You're this person. You can go into CPgram and you can give a complaint against the organization called X. And when you give a complaint, you will see if the complaint is received. Just like you order a food from Zomato and Swiggy, or you order something from Amazon, you understand that the order is processed, the people are working, your problem will be solved. You get a complete structure. So this is a governance measure. It's like a complaint box. So this is a governance measure is what I wanted to tell you about CP grams. So know about this concept, and I'll give you this concept in detail. Yes, CP grams, take a look at this and let's understand what is CP grams. It stands for Centralized Public Grievance Redress and Monitoring System. It's an online platform created by the Indian government to help public services. So just like I said, imagine this as a digital complaint box. Just like I said, there is a government agency and you have a complaint against that. So CP grams, what is CP grams? Centralized Public Grievance Redress and Monitoring System. Such things are very useful for governance. When you write an answer on governance, especially public grievance, you should definitely write CP grams. It will give you more marks. I'm sure. When you write certain vocabularies like this, you'll get more marks. This is how you differentiate yourself from the other people who are writing the exam. See, imagine that this is a digital complaint box. If you are unhappy with any service provided by the government, you can register your complaint on SpeakGram. And once you file a complaint, you will get a unique registration number. And it's available 24/7, making it easy for citizens to file complaint. You can track the status of your complaint and see the actions. Just like I told you, it works like Amazon. Your order is dispatched, your order is back. So don't you think it's a good thing? And recently, the government has been evaluating this process. It was not an easy stuff to launch it. So have an idea. I'll give an example. Another example to understand it much more easily. Imagine that if you applied for a passport and haven't received it within the expected time, you can file a complaint on CPRAMs. The system will route your complaint to the relevant passport office and you can track its progress until it's resolved. So you have complained you're not getting your passport, you can actually log in and complain it in CPRAM. So it's an important tool for citizens to voice their concerns for redressal. Very, very important. So remember this concept, and all you have to remember is the full form of this, because you might forget what is CPGram. Centralized Public Grievance Redressal Monitoring System. That is CPGram. Okay, so I think citizens can file public grievance through www.pgpportal.gov.in. And you don't have to remember all this. I'm just giving you a report. There are 8 important things that I'm discussing. Do not remember all this thing, but I'm just giving you important points. In the last few years, you can see that all central ministries and states grievance portals have been, integrated together. It is a big task. Central ministries and state portals have all, integrated for a thing. And now there will be no issues because you can use this in multiple language, promoting inclusivity and outreach. It's not only English. So in this years, you can create multiple language also, and you have a feedback call center. The most important there, the CPRAM has also started using artificial intelligence and machine learning systems to process the information. So this is also very important. Majority of the portals of the state government and central ministries have integrated. There is language barriers or no language barriers, and you can also understand that the artificial intelligence and machine learning are also integrated in this. Okay, so that is all about the CP grams. I'm sure many of you must have been hearing it for the first time. So 2022 was this 10-step CP grams reform process. Complaint box, what does it do? You know it very clearly. Take a question on that. The centralized public grievance redress and monitoring systems critically evaluate what is CPgrams and critically evaluate the impact of these reforms and grievance redressal in India, both achievements and areas that need further improvement. How can be improved? So, what is CPgram and what are the impact and how is the achievement and what are the improvements needed for this? You can understand this in very clear time. Okay, so that was regarding the important concept, and next I would love to give you one more important concept that I want to give you is maybe I'll switch on to one more point, and next important topic will be covered in the next class. So definitely, in the news, people are hearing about something called biobitumen. What is this biobitumen? Is something that we need to understand. What is the concept of biobitumen? We need to understand why this is important. What is the concept of biobitumen? And you must have heard about something called as what is, first of all, you can take a look at this. This is the tar, but this is the bitumen. Bitumen is the more sticky thing. It's more sticky. You can see that it is more sticky. The bitumen is more sticky, and this is tar. And what is this concept of bitumen? And you must have heard about this word called asphalt. What is the thing called asphalt? It is also very important for your environmental area. What is bitumen and what is this concept of asphalt is also very, very important in this regard. So have an idea about this also. And let's go into the topic and let's understand this clearly. And I'm sure if you read the newspapers, you will not be able to get all this content. So that is why pay attention. I've covered all the important areas. So first of all, find out what is bitumen. Take a look at this picture. You must have seen this picture in the tarring. I'm sure if you must have seen how the roads are tarred. You must have seen how the roads are tarred like this, and you can see this sticky thing is called as bitumen. Is a sticky, black, and highly viscous substance that is a natural constituent of crude oil. It can also be found in natural deposits. It's very important. It's a constant of crude oil. It can also be natural deposits. Depending on its composition, it can range from thick liquid to a solid material. So bitumen is formed from the remains of ancient organisms, just like petroleum, primary marine products that were buried and subjected to high temperature and pressures over millions of years. Just like we say petroleum is created, you should say bitumen is a sticky, black, viscous substance. Viscosity. Look at the picture, you will understand why it is called viscous. You can see, take the viscosity. And you can see it is a complex mixture of hydrocarbon. See, the bitumen is the same as asphalt. In America, people call it asphalt. Bitumen is it's same as asphalt. So when you talk about bitumen, what do you mean by biobitumen? So definitely bitumen means, just like we say renewable energy and non-renewable energy. This is bitumen is like petroleum stuff. Bio is like we created from the organic stuff. Just like bitumen. So bitumen is a mixture of hydrocarbons, including asphaltness and resins and oils. And you can see it's used in road construction as a binder in asphalt. Just like you have seen, it is used in road construction, and it is used in the construction of roads and highways. Bitumen is also used for roofing and waterproofing. It's also used in roofing and waterproofing applications, and that is what is called as asphalt. I told you. So this is the bitumen part. So bio definitely means you do not create it from the the petroleum style of growth or hydrocarbon style. You use natural stuff to create bitumen. So bitumen means, I think you got an idea about what bitumen means. It's a sticky blacky thing. It's actually created like coal, and it's a mixture of hydrocarbons, asphaltenes, resins, and oils. It is asphaltic. It's used for road construction. And now let's take an understanding about the biobitumen. Take an understanding about the biobitumen. See, take a look at this. Tar is a viscous black liquid that is distilled from coal and wood. Bitumen is distilled from crude oil and suitable for binding other materials. See, bitumen and tar is entirely different. Okay. Asphalt is a mixture of bitumen and sand. So bitumen is basically from crude oil, and asphalt means bitumen and sand. You add bitumen and sand. Tar is liquid that is distilled from coal. Tar is something that you distill it from coal. Bitumen is a bit different that I told. So what is biobitumen? Bitumen is definitely renewable. That means I told you petroleum related thing or it's crude oil. Bio means it's natural. Or when it, bitumen means asphalt. So you add an organic thing, it becomes bioasphalt. Biobitumens mean bioasphalt. This is a very important area. I think it is already this one of the small type of asphalt bioasphalt question is already asked in UPSC. It's very important that you pay attention and know about this. Okay, and it is an eco-friendly alternate to conventional bitumen which is derived from crude oil. Just like the petroleum or the crude oil, it is conventional. It is bio-based binder made from renewable resources such as vegetable oils, crop stubble, algae, lignin, or even animal manure. This is the more organic way of doing it, which includes renewable resources like vegetable oils, stubble, algae, or lignin. How do you create it? One common method of heating organic waste is the concept of you can create biobitumen through the process of pyrolysis. This breaks down the organic matter into simple components. So you must have heard about this concept called pyrolysis. So one common method is this pyrolysis of how you can create biobitumen also. So know about this in detail. It's very important. And you can see biobitumen share many of the same properties like conventional bitumen. You can use biobitumen in the construction process also. And what are the advantages of all this is you can understand why it is very advantageous because biobitumen result in lower greenhouse gas emissions compared to the bitumen part, and it is reducing the carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is also reduced. That is something that you have understood. And it can also address the issue of agriculture waste and stubble burning. See, a lot of things, a lot of stubble burning, agriculture waste, it is also going unnoticed, unattended. You can create all the agricultural waste and stubble burning and use it to create biobitumen and use it for road construction and infrastructure development. Means most of the infrastructure development can become eco-friendly also. That is the most important point that you have to understand here. Okay, so that was the most important point that I wanted to stress here. And uh, okay, so moving on to the next important points. So please understand, biobitumen represents a promising in sustainable construction materials. Well, that same point that I told you, it offers environmental friendly alternates to petroleum bitumen and waste management and stubble burning. Biobitumen has the potential to play a significant role in greener infrastructure. So when you get a question for greener infrastructure, please understand biobitumen can help in green infrastructure. It can manage the waste and stubble burning. It's a new alternate for that. And definitely, infrastructure will be more greener. That is the point that you have to get here. So take the question here. Examine the potential of biobitumen in promoting sustainable road infrastructure development in India. Discuss the key challenges and strategy to facilitate the widespread adoption for this. So this is something that I wanted to give you as a point in this. So know about what is biobitumen. I've told you what is bitumen and what is how do you create asphalt and bitumen, and what are the important reasons. How do you create biobitumen? Why? What is the problem that it is solving? What is the future of this? Very very important. Know about biobitumen. This can be a question for the prelims as well as for the mains examination. Take it very seriously. Uh, this is it. And okay, I'll go for one more important topic because I had one more important topic to tell you. And okay, I'll discuss this topic also because I'll discuss this topic and I'll just wind up this live session also. Maybe in the next coming session, I'll include more different topics like this and go for a detailed discussion. The Prime Minister of Vietnam calls the Indian President. A question from international relations and international, world geography also. So, in this regard, when the Prime Minister of Vietnam calls, it's important that you know where is Vietnam located. Which are the bordering countries of Vietnam? This is a very typical UPSC prelims question. And what is Act East policy? A question from international relations. Very, very important of Act East policy. Previously, there is a policy called Look East. So where is this Act East policy? And let's take a look at the map of. This is what is the picture that is on the screen is the Act East policy. Look East policy mean India. Look at the countries that are located on the eastern side of India. So what is India's relationship? It's very simple. Look East policy means there are different points you have to understand. We understand where is Vietnam and border. Before that, let's understand what is Look East policy from an IR perspective. See, these are the countries in the eastern part, towards the eastern part of India. So look east policy. So India is actually looking east. India is looking towards the east. That means to have a better relationship between the countries which are on the eastern side. You cannot say that there are at least this many countries. There is no specific numbers for this, like how many countries are there. Countries towards the eastern side of India. What is India's policy? What is India's international relation? How is India maintaining a relationship with each and every country of this region? This is also one important concept of Act East policy. Previously, it was Look East policy. Now it is Act East policy. And there is also one more very, very important strategy behind this, the development of northeastern India. Because very, very India, northeastern part of India is a very strategic point of India, this northeastern part. This northeastern part of India is one of the gateway towards the eastern countries. You can see this countries very clearly here. Northeastern states in India acts as an important gateway for a better relationship between these countries, because they are the first. All these countries, this is the first point of contact. Even though everything happens from Delhi and control from here, this is a big development of northeastern. This is the international relation concept of Act East policy. I want you to understand this. India is focusing. India is looking towards the east and Look East policy. Now India is acting towards the east and also the emergence and creating a dominance for the northeastern part of India. Definitely, to have a better relationship, it is good to have. You can develop. You can do everything from northeastern part of India. So this in turn will be the development of northeastern parts of India. People say that northeast is not developed. Northeast is a developing area. So this Act East policy will indirectly be an important program or an important platform for northeastern development and growth also. That is the point that I wanted to tell you. So this is the idea. This is the basic idea. If you know this idea, everything is simple. If you got this idea, everything is simple. Okay. Now let's take a look at the Vietnam border. You can take a look at this Vietnam. Look at the shape in which the country is being spread. It's interesting to watch. You can say Vietnam. It's actually, look at the spread. How Vietnam is spread here. Very interesting. It's actually spread. So which are the important borders that you can take a look at the borders? Take a look at the borders. Vietnam shares border with 3 countries. You have China. Definitely Vietnam has a border with China. And it has border with Laos. Definitely you can see it has border with Laos. And it has a border with Cambodia. It has the border with Cambodia. Additionally, Vietnam has a 3,260 kilometer on the Gulf of Tonkin, the Gulf of Thailand, and the South China Sea. Very important. Please remember, this Gulf region is also very, very important. The picture that I'm trying to draw. This area, Vietnam has a good relation between this sea area. You can see it's a 3,260 coastline along the Gulf of Tonkin, the Gulf of Thailand, and the South China Sea. So take a close look at China, Laos, and Cambodia are important borders. So such questions are very, very important for the UPSC prelims also. So know an idea about this thing. In this, you can identify this thing very clearly. It has a border with Cambodia, and it has a border with Laos, and definitely it has border with China. So China, Laos, and Cambodia. It has border with this and all the islands on this. So know about Vietnam, and I wanted to tell you about the Act East policy also. So please understand. Let's take few points about Act East policy, and we wrap up this session. The Act East policy is definitely created in 2014. It's aimed at centering India's political, economic, and cultural ties with the countries of Indo-Pacific region. Very important. especially Southeast Asia, the countries Southeast Asia. Previously, it was Look East policy, and now it is Act East policy. From 2014, they have created this Act East policy. So, definitely, these are the important points that I've told you. And you can see that you cannot see that these are some of the important countries. There are no numbers, but have an idea. ASEAN countries are definitely members. So, which are the ASEAN countries? You can see Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam are some of the. So, this is again a question for the prelims. Know about the ASEAN countries. Write it, learn it, very important. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar. So India has a better relation with all this. And Southeast Asia and East Asia, like Japan, South Korea, and also some of the Indo-Pacific regions such as Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Islands such as. So basically, it's very simple. I told you, India is looking from India towards the east. Everything towards the east, right from Southeast Asia in the lower portion, East Asia, and Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Islands. Know about this thing, and it's very important. And you should remember that the Act East policy has a lot of benefits also. Like we are expanding trade and investment through India ASEAN Free Trade Agreement. So this is how India is cooperating. India is pushing for an India ASEAN Free Trade Agreement. So that is our commitment for that. And under the RCEP, you should definitely know what is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Next time I'll make a note on this. It's very important to know what is RCEP. So Indian ASEAN free trade is an important component of this. Working on maritime security, counterterrorism, disaster management are all important areas. Some of the projects, please remember the infrastructure projects like India, Myanmar, Thailand bilateral highway. Definitely, it's also a part of Act East. We are contributing. We are tying up with Myanmar, Thailand. Definitely, that means it's a Act East. What is this trilateral highway? India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway, and also the Kaladan multimodal transit project. Please remember, this is from Kolkata. You can take a look at this from Kolkata, from Haldia. This is going to Sitwe and River Garden. The Kaladan multimodal transit project. Please remember, it's a Myanmar India water route. See all these projects, India ASEAN free trade, the Indo Myanmar Thailand highway, Kaladan multimodal transit project. All these projects are very very important, and examples of, and even BIMSTEC. You can see like Mekong Ganga Cooperation is also an important part of the BIMSTEC. We already discussed BIMSTEC, so Mekong Ganga Cooperation, and even conducting military exercises, and also the most important point, balancing China's influence. This is how India balances China's influence, because China's influence needs to be balanced. So India is keeping this very steady. So you can say Act East policy is also one of the method of India to balance Chinese influence in this region. That means this statement is very very important for an international relations perspective. Act East policy, apart from creating all these benefits, is also balancing China's influence, because you know that when you compare with India, majority of the countries in this region, this is also a region where China is also a part. Japan, South Korea, all this countries, China also has an important part. So when India is actually having a relation with all these countries, indirectly it is actually keeping a check on China. India is checking China. That is also very important in this region. So know about this Act East policy. It's a very very important aspect of international relationship. So quickly summing it up, know about what is the Act East policy, anything towards the east and how India is looking forward for that. Know about the border. And 2014, it is a new thing for Look East policy is now Act East policy upgraded. Some of the countries that we are looking at, know which are the countries are involved in this, and what are some of the things India has done. India ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, projects, highways, and Mekong Ganga, BIMSTEC are all part, and all most important one for Act East policy is keeping and controlling China. When you do this, you keep controlling China. And let's take a, and also the most important thing is integrating the northeastern region with the broader nation economy. I told you this point. Northeastern, it's a development for northeastern region in India, because everything is through that direction. And it is a lot of things are done, but there are definitely infrastructure and logistical challenges. Trade connectivity is not so good. Even though we have proposed this Act East policy, there are various challenges like infrastructure, logistical challenge, trade connectivity, smooth trade. Things are happening, but it's not in that dynamic. That is the main reason why it is actually on a low. Okay, so let's go to the question and finish it off. India's Act East policy is not merely an economic initiative, but also a crucial element of strategic rebalance in the Indo-Pacific. Discuss the policy's role in addressing India's security concern and strategic partnership. So please remember there are different parts of the question. This is the China angle. It's not merely an economic initiative, but a balancing in the Indo-Pacific regions. How China is being balanced against all the countries. India has good relationship with Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Islands, and all the East Asian countries and South Asian countries, and balance China. And how is this addressing India's security concern? And how can you enhance strategic partnership? So this is an important question that you can answer from this area. So I think we have discussed so many points, and I'll do one thing. We'll wrap this off this session, and in the next upcoming live, I'll include more important topics. I'll keep this important topics from this perspective. I'll try to find out areas that are very, very useful for your prelims and mains examination, because don't expect common topics to be discussed in IAS Factor Current Affairs Live, because I believe you can find these things very easily from the other points. But this topics like CP grams and all the other concepts, if you can actually uh, take it as a list to study yourself and make sure you don't miss it out, and keep going with it, and keep preparing all the topics. And after this session is down, you can watch the playback and recordings on this in the 2025 UPSC section. For 2026 27, check the category below in the app. In that 25 UPSC, the new course will be added called Current Affairs. From that you can watch the pre-recordings of that, and keep working on that. Definitely, our 2025 restart batch is already on. So, if you're preparing for 2025, it's a self study batch for 2025. So, do let us know about the 2025 restart batch also. So, this was the national live. Thanks for all the people across India who are watching this live. We'll come up with another session, and I'll discuss the other topics in those sessions. And until then, you can watch this, read it, try to answer some of the